Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a moment in life when the doors you keep knocking on simply refuse to open. You send application after application. You wait for the phone to ring. You refresh your email hoping for good news. You prepare, you pray, you try again. Yet silence answers you. Rejection follows rejection. Disappointment begins to whisper dangerous lies into your heart. It tells you that you are not enough. It tells you that you have been forgotten. It tells you that your future is slipping away. But what if that closed door is not a rejection? What if it is protection? What if the opportunity you are begging for is far smaller than the purpose being prepared for you? Sometimes we become so focused on finding a job that we forget to seek direction. We become so desperate for immediate provision that we overlook eternal preparation. We want security, but God is building something much greater than comfort. We ask for employment, but He may be preparing an assignment. We search for a paycheck while He is shaping a purpose. You may feel frustrated because your plans are not working. You may feel discouraged because your efforts seem to lead nowhere. But understand this: delays are not denials. Silence is not abandonment. Closed doors are not proof that your life is off track. There are seasons when heaven seems quiet, but even in the quiet, God is working. Think about the moments when everything appears uncertain. Those are often the very moments when your character is being strengthened, patience is being developed, trust is being tested, vision is being expanded. The waiting season is not wasted. It is a workshop. It is preparation for something you cannot yet see. Many people spend years chasing positions that were never meant for them. They settle for what looks acceptable because they fear the unknown. They accept what is available instead of waiting for what is appointed. But you were not created merely to survive. You were not designed simply to earn a living. You were created to live with purpose, to walk in calling, to fulfill something bigger than your own immediate needs. Sometimes losing what you thought you needed is the first step toward discovering what you were truly made for. Do not let your current circumstances define your future. Your unemployment is not your identity. Your struggle is not your final chapter. Your unanswered prayers are not evidence of divine absence. God often removes temporary opportunities because they would distract you from permanent purpose. You may have been asking, why is nothing working? Perhaps the better question is, what is being prepared? Maybe this season is teaching you dependence. Maybe it is breaking your attachment to human approval. Maybe it is teaching you to hear His voice more clearly. Maybe it is revealing gifts within you that would have remained hidden if life had gone according to your own plan. You may be searching for someone to hire you while God is preparing you to build something yourself. You may be looking for a title while He is developing leadership. You may be asking for a position while He is shaping a mission. Never underestimate what can be born in a season of uncertainty. Some of the greatest transformations happen when life stops making sense. When your plans collapse, your vision can finally expand. When your expectations fail, faith begins to rise. When the familiar disappears, purpose begins to emerge. Do not rush through the process. Do not despise this waiting. Do not assume that because others seem to be moving ahead, you are being left behind. Comparison is a thief. It steals gratitude. It steals peace. It steals confidence. Your journey is unique. Your timeline is intentional. What is meant for you will not pass you by. The world may tell you to panic. It may tell you to lower your standards. It may tell you to grab the first opportunity, no matter how empty it feels. But there is wisdom in waiting. There is strength in trusting. There is power in surrender. Sometimes the greatest act of faith is to remain still when every emotion urges you to run. You are not standing still because nothing is happening. You are standing still because roots are growing beneath the surface. A tree cannot rise high unless its roots grow deep. This hidden season may be developing spiritual strength that success alone could never teach. It may be teaching humility. It may be teaching perseverance. It may be teaching you to trust God, not for what He gives, but simply for who He is. And that changes everything. Because when your peace is no longer dependent on your circumstances, fear loses its power. When your confidence is rooted in divine purpose, rejection cannot destroy you. When your hope rests in God's timing, delays become easier to endure. You may not understand the path ahead, but you do not need complete understanding to keep walking in faith. One day, what feels confusing now will become clear. One day, you will look back and thank God for the opportunities that never happened. One day you will see how every closed door redirected you. One day you will realize that what felt like loss was actually guidance. Your life is not on pause. Preparation is progress. Growth is progress. Faithfulness is progress. Trust that what is being built within you matters more than what is being withheld from you. Instead of asking, "When will I find a job?" begin asking, "What is God teaching me in this season?" Instead of focusing only on what you lack, begin recognizing what is being formed. Develop your skills. Strengthen your mind. Deepen your faith. Serve where you can. Learn what you can. Stay ready. Opportunity often arrives suddenly, but preparation determines whether you can sustain it. Your current season may feel uncertain, but uncertainty is not the enemy of faith. It is often the environment where faith grows strongest. Do not measure your worth by responses from employers. Do not measure your future by your present limitations. Do not measure your potential by temporary setbacks. You are more than your resume. You are more than your rejection letters. You are more than your unanswered questions. There is a bigger plan unfolding, a plan that may not look like what you expected, a plan that may require patience you did not want to learn, a plan that may lead you somewhere far greater than where you intended to go. Stop searching in fear. Stop striving in desperation. Stop believing that your life is falling apart. Perhaps it is finally coming together. Trust the process. Trust the silence. Trust the waiting. Trust the unseen work taking place. And above all, trust that the God who guides your steps sees beyond what you can imagine, knows what you cannot understand, and is preparing something far greater than anything you have been trying to force on your own. There are moments in life when rejection feels deeply personal. You knock on one door after another, and each time it remains closed, it feels as though something inside you is being denied. You begin to question your value. You begin to wonder if you have been overlooked. You ask yourself what you did wrong, what you could have done better, and why things are not happening the way you hoped they would. The silence can feel heavy. The waiting can feel unbearable. The disappointment can feel like proof that your path is blocked. But what if what appears to be rejection is actually divine? Redirection? What if the opportunity you are grieving was never meant to carry you into your future? What if the very door you are begging to open would have led you away from your true purpose? Sometimes we are so focused on what we want that we cannot see what we truly need. We become attached to outcomes, believing that if one particular plan does not succeed, everything is falling apart. But often, what feels like loss is actually protection. What feels like delay is often guidance. What feels like a closed door may be the loving hand of God preventing you from stepping into something that would not have served your highest good. It is difficult to accept this when emotions are strong. It is hard to believe there is purpose in disappointment when your heart is aching for an answer. You may have spent months preparing, applying, hoping, and praying. You may have imagined how your life would change if only this one opportunity came through. When it doesn't, the pain can feel overwhelming. But not every no is meant to hurt you. Some no's are there to redirect you. Some closed doors are not punishments, they are protection from paths you were never meant to walk. There are things we cannot see from our limited perspective. We cannot see what lies behind every opportunity. We cannot see what challenges, distractions, or disappointments may be hidden beneath what looks promising. We only see what is directly in front of us. But God sees beyond the moment. He sees beyond your current frustration. He sees the road ahead. He knows what will strengthen you, what will weaken you, what will fulfill you, and what will slowly drain your spirit. When a door closes, it may not be because you were unworthy. It may be because something better is being preserved for you. Think about how often people settle for what seems good simply because they are afraid to wait for what is truly right. Fear pushes many into situations that were never meant for them. Fear says, take whatever you can get. Fear says, you cannot afford to wait. Fear says, this is your only chance. But faith whispers something different. Faith says, trust the timing. Faith says, there is more ahead. Faith says, do not confuse a closed door with a closed future. Every closed door carries a lesson. Sometimes it teaches patience. Sometimes it reveals where your trust truly lies. Sometimes it exposes how much of your identity has become attached to external success. If your confidence is built only on acceptance, rejection will always break you. But when your confidence is rooted in something greater, rejection loses its power to define you. A missed opportunity cannot destroy what is meant for you. You may not understand why certain things are not working. You may not see the reason today, but clarity often comes later. There are many moments in life that only make sense in hindsight. One day you may look back and realize that the opportunity you cried over would have kept you from something far more meaningful. You may see that the delay that frustrated you was necessary to prepare you. You may understand that the rejection you feared was actually the turning point that changed everything. Trusting this process requires surrender. It requires releasing your need to control every outcome. It requires believing that your life is being guided even when the path feels uncertain. This is not easy. Human nature wants answers. It wants certainty. It wants immediate reassurance. But faith grows strongest when certainty disappears. Trust becomes real when you continue moving forward without knowing exactly where the road will lead. You do not need to force open doors that refuse to move. You do not need to chase what is running from you. What is truly meant for you will align with peace, purpose, and divine timing. That does not mean the journey will be easy, but it does mean that you can stop exhausting yourself trying to convince closed doors to become open ones. Instead of asking why something did not happen, begin asking what this redirection is trying to show you. What new path is being revealed? What strengths are being developed in this season? What opportunities are emerging that you might have missed if your original plan had succeeded? Sometimes the greatest breakthroughs begin with disappointment. Sometimes the most beautiful chapters begin with endings we did not choose. Sometimes the road to purpose begins where our own plans come to an end. The closed door in front of you may not be the end of your story. It may be the first sign that your story is being rewritten into something greater than you ever imagined. The waiting season is often the most misunderstood part of life. It is the chapter people rarely celebrate, the part of the journey most try to escape. We are taught to value movement, progress, visible success, and immediate results. We want answers now. We want breakthroughs now. We want doors to open now. Some of the most important work in your life happens in the moments when nothing seems to be happening at all. Waiting can feel uncomfortable because it forces you to confront uncertainty. It strips away the illusion of control. It places you in a space where your plans are paused, your future feels unclear, and your heart longs for direction. In those moments, it is easy to believe that time is being wasted. It is easy to feel forgotten. It is easy to assume that because life is not moving the way you expected, something must be wrong. But the waiting season is not punishment. It is preparation. There are lessons that can only be learned in silence. There are strengths that can only be built in stillness. There are parts of your character that can only be developed when life slows down enough for you to notice what is happening within you. When everything is moving quickly, it is easy to ignore the deeper work that needs to be done. Success can sometimes hide weaknesses. Activity can distract from growth. But waiting exposes what lies beneath the surface. It reveals how much trust you truly have. It reveals whether your peace depends on circumstances or something deeper. It reveals whether your identity is rooted in purpose or in external validation. The waiting season asks difficult questions. Can you remain faithful when you do not see results? Can you keep believing when nothing around you appears to be changing? Can you trust that there is meaning in this moment, even when you do not understand it? This is where transformation begins. A seed buried in the ground looks invisible to everyone on the surface. To the outside world, nothing appears to be happening. But beneath the soil, roots are forming. Strength is developing. Life is preparing to break through. Your waiting season may feel hidden, but hidden does not mean inactive. It means something essential is taking place where human eyes cannot yet see it. Growth beneath the surface is often more important than growth that can be measured. You may be waiting for an opportunity, but perhaps this season is preparing you to handle it. You may be asking for change, but perhaps your heart needs strengthening first. You may be ready for the next chapter, but perhaps there are lessons in this one that you cannot afford to miss. Patience is not passive. Waiting is not weakness. There is courage in staying steady when your emotions urge you to panic. There is strength in continuing to believe when circumstances offer no immediate reassurance. Every day you choose faith over fear, you are becoming stronger. Every day you refuse to give in to despair, your foundation becomes deeper. The waiting season often teaches humility. It reminds you that not everything can be controlled. It teaches you to surrender the timelines you have written for yourself. It teaches you that your plans, no matter how carefully designed, are not always the highest plans for your life. Humility allows you to release what you thought had to happen and become open to what may be better. It also reveals hidden gifts. In times of uncertainty, people often discover abilities they never knew they had. Creativity emerges. New passions awaken. Forgotten dreams return. The very pause you resisted may become the place where purpose is uncovered. Perhaps if everything had gone according to your plan, you would never have explored those hidden parts of yourself. Perhaps comfort would have kept you from growth. Perhaps certainty would have prevented discovery. Sometimes disruption is necessary because it forces you to look in new directions. Do not underestimate the value of becoming before receiving. It is possible to receive an opportunity too soon and not be ready to sustain it. It is possible to step into success before your character is prepared for the responsibility. Preparation matters. Timing matters. Growth matters. What feels like delay may actually be mercy. You are being shaped in ways you may not yet understand. Your resilience is being built. Your trust is being deepened. Your dependence on temporary things is being challenged. You are learning to stand firm without constant reassurance. This is not easy work, but it is holy work. Do not rush through it. Do not spend this season only longing for what is next. Pay attention to what is being formed now. Learn what this chapter has to teach. Strengthen your mind. Refine your habits. Guard your heart. Build discipline. Develop wisdom. Stay ready. Waiting does not mean doing nothing. It means preparing faithfully while trusting patiently. One day, what feels slow now may become the very reason you are able to carry what comes next with strength and confidence. One day, you may realize that this season gave you exactly what you needed, even though it did not give you what you wanted. The waiting season is not empty. It is full of unseen growth, quiet transformation, and sacred preparation for a purpose greater than you can currently imagine. There is a powerful freedom that begins when you stop chasing temporary security and start trusting that your life is being guided by a greater plan. So much of human fear comes from the need to control outcomes. We want certainty. We want guarantees. We want to know exactly where we are going, how we will get there, and when everything will finally fall into place. We search desperately for something that feels stable, something we can hold, something we can point to, something that assures us that we are safe. For many, that security becomes a job, a title, a paycheck, or a carefully planned path. These things can be valuable, but when they become the foundation of your peace, they can also become the source of your greatest anxiety. Temporary security can feel comforting, but it can never fully satisfy the deeper need for purpose. A paycheck may support your life, but it cannot define your worth. A title may impress others, but it cannot fulfill your soul. Position may offer stability, but it cannot replace the peace that comes from knowing you are walking in alignment with something greater than yourself. Many people spend years striving for what looks secure, only to discover that they still feel empty. They climbed the ladder, but they are leaning against the wrong wall. They achieved what they thought they wanted, yet something inside still feels unsettled. Why? Because external success cannot replace inner calling. Temporary security cannot substitute for lasting purpose. There comes a moment when you must decide what you trust more, your own efforts to control your future, or the possibility that your life is unfolding according to a plan far wiser than your own. This decision changes everything. When you trust only what you can see, fear becomes your constant companion. Every setback feels threatening. Every delay feels dangerous. Every unanswered question feels unbearable. You begin to live in survival mode, grabbing at opportunities out of desperation rather than discernment. You settle for situations that do not align with your values because uncertainty feels too frightening. You choose comfort over calling. But surrender invites a different way of living. Surrender is not giving up. It is not passivity. It is not abandoning responsibility. Surrender is the courageous act of releasing your need to force outcomes and choosing to trust that you are being led. It means continuing to work, to prepare, to move forward, but without panic. It means doing what you can while accepting that some things are beyond your control. There is peace in that kind of trust. When you stop chasing security out of fear, your perspective begins to change. You no longer measure your worth by your circumstances. You no longer believe that a delayed opportunity means a diminished future. You stop comparing your timeline to others. You begin to understand that your path is unique and that what is meant for you cannot be taken away by delay, rejection, or uncertainty. This kind of trust allows you to wait without losing hope. It allows you to walk through unanswered questions without feeling defeated. It allows you to remain steady even when the world around you feels unstable. Many people miss beautiful opportunities because they are so focused on what they expected that they fail to recognize what is unfolding in front of them. They are searching so hard for one specific outcome that they overlook the quiet invitations towards something different, something better. Trust opens your eyes. It allows you to see possibilities where fear only saw problems. It allows you to notice gifts that were hidden inside difficult seasons. It allows you to recognize that some endings are actually beginnings. Perhaps what you thought was security was only familiarity. Perhaps what you are being asked to release is not your future, but your attachment to how that future must look. Sometimes the greatest obstacle receiving what is meant for you is your unwillingness to let go of what you expected. True peace does not come from having every answer. It comes from knowing that even when you do not understand the path, you can trust the one guiding it. This trust does not eliminate effort. You still prepare. You still learn. You still pursue opportunities. But your striving is no longer driven by fear. It is driven by faith. You begin to act from confidence rather than desperation. You begin to choose from wisdom rather than panic. You begin to move with calm assurance instead of restless anxiety. That kind of peace is powerful. It protects your heart from despair. It guards your mind from fear. It reminds you that your future is not dependent on a single opportunity, a single person, or a single outcome. Your life is bigger than the moment you are living in now. There is a plan unfolding that you cannot fully see. There are connections being formed, lessons being learned, strengths being built, doors being prepared that may not yet be visible. Trust that. Let go of the pressure to control everything. Let go of the belief that if you do not force something to happen, nothing will happen. Let go of the fear that your life is falling behind. You are not behind. You are being led. And sometimes the most courageous step you can take is not running harder, but standing still long enough to remember that your security was never meant to come from temporary things. It was always meant to come from trusting that your path is being held by hands far greater than your own. Ladies and gentlemen, if there is one truth to carry with you today, let it be this. Your life is not defined by closed doors, delayed answers, or seasons of uncertainty. What may feel like rejection today could be the very redirection that leads you into the purpose you were always meant to fulfill. What feels like waiting may actually be preparation. What feels like loss may be protection. And what feels like confusion may simply be the beginning of a greater plan unfolding beyond what your eyes can currently see. Do not allow temporary disappointments to convince you that your future has been diminished. Do not measure your worth by opportunities that did not happen. Your value has never been tied to a title, a paycheck, or the approval of others. Your worth is far deeper than your circumstances, and your path is far greater than your present struggles. Every closed door has a purpose. Every delay carries a lesson. Every season of waiting is shaping something within you that will prepare you for what lies ahead. Even when life feels still, unseen work is taking place. Your character is being strengthened. Your faith is being refined. Your heart is being prepared to carry blessings you cannot yet imagine. So stop living in fear of what has not happened. Stop exhausting yourself trying to force doors that were never meant to open. Stop believing that because your plans have changed, purpose has been lost. Sometimes the greatest breakthroughs begin when you finally release control and trust that your steps are being guided. Walk forward with faith, even when the road is unclear. Be patient in the waiting. Be courageous in the uncertainty. Stay faithful in the process. Trust that every setback is setting the stage for something greater. Trust that every unanswered prayer is being woven into a bigger story. Trust that what is meant for you will arrive at the right time in the right way, according to a plan far better than anything you could design on your own. Your season of searching will not last forever. Your moment of clarity will come. The doors that are meant for you will open. The purpose that feels hidden now will be revealed. And one day, you will look back and realize that every delay, every disappointment, and every closed door was leading you exactly where you needed to be. Until then, keep believing, keep preparing, and keep trusting, because the path ahead is already being prepared for you, and your greatest blessings may be waiting just beyond the doors that did not open. Sometimes the greatest answer to your prayers is not the job you were seeking, but the purpose you were being prepared to discover. Asterisk, asterisk.